Good evening, everyone. We'd like to call our March 8th Fayetteville City Council meeting to order. We welcome those who are joining us remotely, council members who are joining us by phone. If you can please identify yourself. I think we have Council Members Ingram. Councilmember Ingram, are you there? Councilmember Ingram, are you there? Councilmember Waddell?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of council.
Good evening. Councilmember Hare, I think he had to go. And Councilmember Davis, are you there?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council.
Good evening. Is Councilmember Ingram on the line? No. All right. All right, council, we'll call this to order. Councilmember Kinston, you said you had someone who was going to remotely pray, or that's the next meeting? Okay. All right. So until we get there, we'll call on Honorable Bishop Larry Wright, if he could give us a prayer. If we could please stand for the prayer. Immediately following that, if we could repeat the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you, God, once again for the meeting of the leaderships of this city. We pray that you would bless our mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council, our staff, and we pray, God, that you would bless the citizens of this great city. Be with us during this meeting as we dialogue, communicate, and hear from the citizens of our city. And God, that we might make decisions, God, that will be conducive of forward movement for the future of this great city. Be with us, oh God. Give us wisdom that we might work together and not apart, that we might be mindful, God, that the decisions that we make will affect the citizens of this city for years to come. And we thank you, God, as we take our position seriously, because you are the one that has allowed us to serve. And we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Councilman Wright. Council, as we move to our announcements and recognition, certainly, there will be some specific announcements about this. We would like to acknowledge National Women's History Month. We have a proclamation who will be read and presented by Mayor Pro Tem Jensen and possibly the other ladies on council when we come to that. But at this time, announcements and recognitions, we have Mr. Scott Bullitt to give us an update on COVID-19. Mr. Bullitt, we have the numbers trending in the right direction. Tell us a little about it.
Yes, sir. I think it's worth noting that there's a little pause for excitement of at least going in the correct direction. But patience is still a virtue that we want to latch on to. There's a lot more vaccinations to be handed out. In 7 more days, can you believe it, we will have been under a state of emergency here in this city for a year. So we really owe a lot of gratitude for just everyone in general kind of coming together, because this has brought people together. And they've been patient and they've struggled against this thing, both financially as well as their health, and we're doing better than a lot of other places are. I think it's positive to note that about 96% of the cases have presumed to have been recovered. That's a great number. That's a lot of folks. Going forward, we still want to get the message out about getting the vaccine when it's your turn, by all means. I think the numbers that I have the most recent is based on our percent of population here in Cumberland. We've got just shy of 12% on the first dose of everybody having it, and about 7.6% on the second dose. Granted, we want those numbers to go up, and I think they will over time, but the state average is kind of hovering around 15 on the first and 9 on the second. A lot of the credit goes to Cape Fear Valley and to the county for running those mass vaccination centers. The governor was good enough to come down and look at the setup here, and I think it's praiseworthy because we've been ahead of the curve in so many ways all along. But I would also kind of add to that, there's a bit of a flavor of a marathon to this. It's not an out-and-out sprint. We still have to capture as many people and get them the shots they need, because the doses are still not as widely available as what we'd like to see happen. I can envision when the neighborhood drugstore, the CVS, the Walgreens, and such places, and the neighborhood providers will have it in their repertoire just to go and pull it out. When you visit the doctor, you visit those locations, and then you can get it. Again, it's going to take time to get to where that capacity is possible. There are also murmurs and people discussing, well, what will this look like in the future? Will this be an annual flu shot type thing? Who knows? I think first things first. There was a little bit of stir today from the CDC because they have finally acknowledged certain practices that we may follow if you are fully vaccinated. And the definition of that is if you were due for 2 shots, you've had them both, and then 2 weeks have passed since that last shot, or if you've had the Johnson & Johnson 2 weeks post that shot. I'm not ready to endorse pulling masks off and throwing caution to the wind yet, but there are some things that will start to move us in that general direction. I think people are excited. The weather's warming up. It's time to look forward to getting back outside, and I think that's going to help us towards that end. And let me just end before I turn over for any questions you might have that Severe Weather Awareness Week is recognized this week. There'll be a statewide tornado drill on Wednesday at 9:30. Typically, the school kids and places of faith and so forth recognize that, but I would ask everybody listening to my voice tonight, whether you're in a practicing drill or not, it's something to consider and talk amongst your coworkers and your family about what you'll do if something happens. We have new people to the area that do not remember the 2011 tornadoes, but I would not consider that distant memory because that was quite catastrophic to our area. And one last note is we are 84 days from hurricane season, so that's something my shop is very aware of, and we always have on the horizon watching for. So, subject to any questions you have.
Do have one, Mr. Bullock, before we, well, I'll go to Councilmember Kinston. I'll catch mine after. Councilmember Kinston, then Banks McLaughlin, and that's it so far.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Bull, I just had one question that I wanted to get a clarification on. So it seems that the middle schoolers or high schoolers are coming down with COVID a little bit more than we frequently have seen in some areas that I've heard. My question is, even with high schoolers that are working, that are in grocery stores, fast food restaurants, are they considered to be essential workers per se, or how do they fall? And I'm asking that now that they're going to be going back to school, testing and things like that, because they are out there working part-time jobs. They're interacting with, the public, and I just want to know, how do they fall into this?
Well, I know the function of the occupation. Let's say you work in the grocery industry. It is actually included in Group 3. I know there's an age break there about receiving the vaccination. I want to say it's at age 16, but I'm not for sure. That's something I'd have to defer to public health on. But I think it raises an issue that we have young people in these various critical areas. And that's something we'll definitely reach out and get an answer on to see if we can better understand that, because you will have young people scattered in all those different areas, albeit maybe part-time, but nonetheless, it's just as serious.
Okay.
I think there's a grand breath hold right now to see what kind of social experiment this in-person learning will create, because we've been absent from the classroom a while, and as we bring these folks together in groups, will it be a problem or not? A lot of places are saying it's been a minimal issue, but I don't know what our experience will be. We'll watch it together.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I think Councilmember Banks has had our question asked. Councilmember Ingram.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted, could you tell me the date again? You said about the drill?
Yes, ma'am. That'll be this Wednesday at 9:30.
Okay. And then also, I did want to ask, the CDC wrote out some new guidelines as it speaks to fully vaccinated individuals. And at the state level, I guess, has there been any conversation about, I our mask mandate going away, or, do we know what we can expect in coming days or months? And I'm pretty sure that is all relative to what our numbers look like, but I just would want to kind of have a answer for my citizens as I've been asked.
I think the safest answer to the question is that the current executive order has 18 days left before it expires. So that's kind of the primary answer. I know the language in what you referenced that came out today was causing a little bit of a stir, because it says that if you have individuals together that are fully vaccinated, the mask can be eased or not used at all. But we don't want that message confused to the general public and everybody think it's time to take the mask off and throw them away. But that decision, as it affects us locally, will come from North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services through the governor, and we'll take action when that happens.
Right. Thank you so much. And that's pretty much why I was also asking, because I was getting a lot of calls about it, and I just wanted to get that on record. Thank you again.
All right, thank you. Mr. Bullitt, just before we let you go, vaccines and vaccinations, we know they're taking place at the Crown Coliseum. I know Cape Fear is doing a great job pushing theirs out. Anywhere else that you're familiar with?
I know some things were done to organize some efforts, I believe, through E.E. Smith High School. There have been conversations with the state concerning Fayetteville State University. That's a little early because there have been no committals yet, but there is an online spot for reference there on the county's public health website that I go to, because it changes sometimes daily. I can't keep straight what day is a second dose day and what day is all doses or first doses and so forth. So I have to go back and look at it for myself just to figure out what today is and what they're giving away. One thing that you just prompted me to think about that I want to underscore, the worst thing that happens is people sign up for appointments and then don't show up, because that causes them to get vaccine out, get it ready, and then the no-shows threaten the vaccine being wasted, which I don't think that's happening. I think they still manage to find people in line to come claim it, but we don't want that situation to continue. So I think there's a bit of communications disconnect, because it's not easy to say, hey, I can't come today. It's hard enough to get signed up, but then it's hard to cancel your appointment.
Okay.
But we will give that number out too. There is a number for our elderly members of the community that started out to arrange transportation.
Okay.
And my expectation is that number will also ring to someone who can help with that appointment process.
You have it?
I don't have it on me, but I'll make sure that it gets to each of
All
you.
right, and we'll make sure we announce it. Okay. Councilmember Banks McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to include one location that's giving out the vaccination. It's the Moderna, and that's Clinic Pharmacy. It's located off South Main, Hope Mills. The address is 3736 South Main Street. So for those who are interested in receiving the vaccine.
Thank you. Mr. Bullitt, appreciate it. Hopefully we are turning the curve on that. If you're listening to this, if you're 65 and older, you know someone who has not taken the vaccine, please help them get to one of the locations. We'll provide a number for you. And also, if you fit into those occupational exceptions, our school teachers, we need all of our educators, frontline workers to get vaccinated. But thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Council item, the next recognition is the proclamation. We'll ask Mr. Hume, I guess. Is he here? He said he is? Okay. He's joining us virtually? Yes, sir. Okay. Well, Mr. Hume, I would normally go down to the podium, but you're not here, so I don't want to stand alone. But there's a proclamation in appreciation for transit driver appreciation. I'll read that to you, and hopefully you can pass this along to your team. Transit Driver Appreciation Day has been designated and recognized to recognize transit drivers across our nation for their skill, hard work, customer service, and dedication to improving the quality of life in the communities they serve. Whereas this year's event will be observed Thursday, March the 18th, 2021, and whereas the day raises the day raises awareness for frontline, can you all mute your phones, please? All right. Whereas the day raises awareness for frontline transit employees who move our community forward by connecting people to jobs, educational institutions, medical facilities, leisure activities, and Fort Bragg. And whereas fast bus drivers have proven they are valued and essential to Fayetteville, providing safe and secure travel to over 1.4 million passengers since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. Whereas this day acknowledges the long hours that transit drivers work, their ability to multitask in order to maintain schedules, greet passengers, give directions, announce stops, remember requests for stops, ensure social distancing, and more, all while safely maneuvering an extra-large vehicle through unpredictable traffic and adverse weather conditions. Whereas transit drivers also recognize other transit employees who provide vehicle maintenance, route and dispatch assistance, and other assistance behind the scenes. Now, therefore, I, Mitch Colvin, Mayor of the City of Fayetteville, on behalf of the Fayetteville City Council, more than 208,000 citizens, do hereby proclaim the 18th day of March in 2021 in honor of Transit Driver Appreciation Day. So, Mr. Hume, if you could give that to your team, we thank you guys for the hard work you do. You often go unnoticed and unrecognized, but we really greatly appreciate you for keeping our city moving forward. Thank you. Mr. Hume, did you or your team have any words or comments?
We just want to thank you for recognizing us, and really our heroes here, which is our operators, those that are right here with me. They're the important ones, and they're doing the job. So thank you.
Thank you all, and I will make sure we give this to the manager to deliver to you. Thank you, guys. All right, this time I will turn this over to Mayor Pro Tem, who has a very special announcement. I think she would like Council Members Kinston and Banks McLaughlin to join her in this next effort.
Thank you. Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We are going to go down. I would ask that my fellow council women come down to the podium with me and have our city attorney and our clerks come meet me, and of course the chief and Ms. Broyles and our Parks and Rec representative over there. So if all the women, and yes, our new chief of staff, please come down. Huh? Okay. You want to read? Okay. All right, I'm taking off my mask, but I did have my shot.
Wow, we're outnumbered for real, huh?
I know. You know, I was looking around and I saw that. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? So, Mr. Mayor, I would like to thank you for letting me have this opportunity to have our leaders of our staff and our city standing here with me to show how things have changed, and we are juggling a lot of balls in the air. Everybody sitting here is between taking care of their parents, their children, their husbands, and making sure that everybody has clean clothes and doesn't embarrass us when they walk out the door. So, with that being said, we are, we're celebrating International Women's Day, and the mayor has given me the opportunity and the honor to read the proclamation, and I appreciate that. So I guess both of these are on. Whereas March is National Women's History Month and March 8, 2021 is International Women's Day. And whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made a historic contributions to the growth and strength of our city in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. And whereas women have played and continue to play critical economic, cultural, and social roles in every aspect of life by constituting a significant portion of labor force working inside and outside of the home. And whereas women have played a unique role throughout history by providing a majority of the volunteer labor force. And whereas women are particularly important in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropical, cultural institutions and in the United States. And whereas women in every race, class, and ethnic background serve as early leaders in the forefront of many major progressive social change and movements. And whereas women have served our country courageously in the military. Whereas women have been leaders not only in securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the abolishment movement and the emancipation movement of industrial labor movement, the civil rights movement, and other movements, especially the peace movement, which creates a fair and just society for all. And whereas in our current movement of crisis, women continue to lead. Women, particularly women of color, make up a majority of America's essential workers. They work tirelessly to keep families in our communities and our country afloat. And whereas, despite these contributions, the role of a woman in history has been constantly overlooked and undervalued in literature, teaching, and studying of American history. Now, therefore, I, Mitch Colvin, Mayor of the City of Fayetteville, North Carolina, on behalf of the City Council and more than 208,000 residents, do here honorably proclaim the month of March, the year 2021, as National Women's Month. And I call upon the residents of Fayetteville to observe March as a Women's History Month with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. In witness thereof, I hereundo set my hand in the cause of the Great Seal of the City of Fayetteville, affixed the 8th day of March, 2020. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, our new chief of staff has called me up today and said, could you please read another blurb of International Women's History Month? So anybody that knows me, if there is something to be had and I can wear an outfit for it to be the thing, I'm going to wear the outfit. So look what I'm wearing, and as I read, you will get it. In honor of both National Women's History Month and International Women's Day, March 8th, City Hall is lighted in purple. Colors signify specific meanings related to what is celebrated or remembered. Traditionally, International Women's Day's color are purple, green, and white. So, the purple signifies justice and dignity, the green symbolizes hope, and the white represents purity. So that is our little lesson, and thank you for that. Thank you, ladies, and thank you for everything you do for our city. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, Mr. Mayor, before I come back up there, I had one more announcement. I wanted to do a kind of a shout out, or for people of Fayetteville to know. We have a gentleman here in Fayetteville that was born and bred in Fayetteville. He was raised at Northwood Temple Church and is a graduate of Northwood Temple, and he is an amazing film director. He does film production. He was asked, and a lot of people don't know this story, he was asked to move out of Fayetteville and make his career and go to Los Angeles, and he chose the path to stay here in Fayetteville and to start his job and to start his company. Well, it will bring chills to your spine, but he was nominated for 7 Academy Awards last week, and he won one. He won the Academy Award for his production in Meet the Maker, and it was Jarrah Film Productions. And the great thing about him is you are walking and breaking bread with him all over Fayetteville, and you don't even know it. So
Wow.
I just wanted to give him a big shout out and thank him for staying home.
Absolutely.
And opening
Yes.
his business. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's great news, great success story. Have a lot of talent here in Fayetteville. Thank you, ladies. We didn't realize now that we are officially in the minority, gentlemen. Councilmember Ingram, you had a comment on this before we move on?
I had an announcement.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. As we honor Women's History Month, I would like to invite you to join us, the committee that is putting forth a personal look as Kim Fields, the legendary Kim Fields, shares her story of motivation and triumph and success, which is called The Journey Through the Power of Storytelling. Talks about a true Renaissance woman of entertainment industry, actress Kim Fields, and Tammy Thurman of Piedmont Natural Gas will engage in an up-close and personal interview. Kim will guide us through viewing audience on a journey of transformation, vulnerability, and reminiscence coupled with humor and laughter. This will air programming and will be supported by interview and non-interview segments. This will air March 27th at noon on Fox 50. For more information, you can visit trueToYourselfNC.com. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, council, as we move to 5.0, the approval of the agenda. Need a motion to approve. With that, ask that per the conversation that we had prior to the meeting, reference to the item for consideration, ask that if you so choose to include that, it would need to be added as an agenda item. So look. Oh, yeah. And the removal of item 6.01, which we have already taken action on that at the previous meeting. So, council, I look to you for votes to approve.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Councilmember Banks McLaughlin, is that a motion? Yes, a motion. Go ahead, state it for me.
I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda, and I will also, with the removal of 6.01, and also to add the citizens review board onto the agenda.
All right, and is that a second or, okay. Councilman Wright, is there a second for the motion?
Second.
All right, so Madam Attorney, just so I'm clear, do we need to do this in two separate motions to approve, or we will need the supermajority on this motion to add?
Yes, Mayor, you should actually do it as two separate motions. So the first motion would be to add the item to the agenda.
Okay,
And then assuming it
approve the
passes.
agenda. Okay, all right. Were these questions y'all are votes? Okay, so Councilmember Banks McLaughlin, if you could separate that, if you could make a motion to add the item, and then we'll move to. So I'll clear the board, guys. I'll need your votes again. Councilmember Banks McLaughlin.
I make a motion to approve the agenda item with the removal of 6.01.
And the addition of.
And then the addition to add.
No,
what
no,
number?
she wants
I'm
the
saying?
addition to add first, is what the attorney's saying.
So
Oh,
the
okay.
motion, so the motion, Mayor, would be just to.
To add it to the
add an
agenda.
item to the
Okay.
agenda.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
All
I
right.
make a motion to add an item to the agenda.
Okay, and there's a motion by Councilmember Banks McLaughlin, there's a second by Councilmember Kinston to add the item for the discussion of Citizens Review Board, as per discussed and requested. Any discussion on the motion? All right, council, I look to you for your votes to add. All right, Councilmember Ingram,
Green.
Councilmember Waddell,
Green.
Councilmember Hare is not on, Councilmember Davis?
Green?
Okay, all right. Madam Clerk, that motion is 7-2. Those voting in favor to add this item, council members Davis, Banks McLaughlin, Wright, Colvin, Ingram, Waddell, and Kinston. Those voting in opposed, Councilman Dawkins and Jensen. So that will be added as item 10.03. Is that correct? Of 9. So you need 75% of 9, which is 7. Yes, it is. So 75% of 9 would have been 6.75 or 7, yeah. So that was 7-2. No. He had an excuse that. All right, so 10.03 is the item for consideration. All right, now council will need a motion to approve the agenda with the removal of item 6.01. Councilman Wright.
Mr. Mayor, I make.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
With the removal of item 6.01.
Hold on 1 second. Councilmember Waddell, you had a question prior to?
Yes, I know when we do the supermajority, it's required to have 2 of 10. So, and I know that when we are not present, we are required to have an absence that, and I'm not, this is the question that I have, and I think this will probably have to go to the city attorney. How is an absence considered excused so that your vote is not considered a yes vote when you are not present? Do you have to, does it have to come before the body, or how does that work?
Madam Attorney.
If you never come to the meeting, then your vote is not counted. So in this case, the calculation was based off of 9 instead of the 10.
Okay, that's the clarification that I needed. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Councilman Wright, can you repeat that?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I make that motion that we approve the agenda with the removal of 6.01.
All right. There's a motion
And
by
the addition of,
I'm sorry, with the addition of 10.03.
All right. There's a motion by Councilmember Wright to approve the agenda with the modifications as mentioned. There's a second by Councilmember Kinston. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, council, I'll look to you for your votes. All right. Councilmember Ingram,
Green?
Councilmember Waddell,
Green.
Councilmember Davis.
Green.
Jeez. Madam Clerk, that was it was 8-1. I messed around and cleared the board. You got it. Okay. All right. So those voting in favor: Councilman Davis, Banks, McLaughlin, Wright, Colvin, Jensen, Ingram, Hare, Kinston, and Waddell. Those voting in opposed: Councilman Dawkins. All right. Motion carries. Item 6.0 is the consent. Council, I'll look to you for action on that.
Mayor, I make a motion.
Councilmember Kinston.
Yeah,
Well, we need a motion to vote on.
Mr. Mayor, we want to make that motion that we approve the consent agenda as written.
There's a motion by Councilmember Wright to approve the consent. Is there a second? The second by Councilmember Banks McLaughlin. Any discussion on the motion? All right, council, I'll look to you for your votes. All right, we'll go by phone. Councilmember Ingram,
Green?
Councilmember Waddell,
Green.
Councilmember Davis just walked in. He's green. All right. Madam Clerk, that is unanimous by those present. All right, item 7.01, report from boards and commissions and Millennial Advisory Commission. Dr. Whitfield.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I've had the great fortune over the last 18 or so months to be the staff liaison for the very new Millennial Advisory Commission. Tonight, they'll be presenting their initial report to you. And we should have the newly elected chairperson, Kayla McLaughlin, who's on the phone to present their report.
Good evening, Ms. McLaughlin.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. Go ahead and try to share my screen. Oh, I'm not unable to actually share, so just kidding.
Hold on 1 second. I think they're taking care of that now.
Okay. All right, you'll have to give me a second. I am not 100% Zoom oriented. Okay. So let me know if you can see the presentation. It's on my phone, so it might look a little wonky.
Yes, ma'am, we can see it.
Okay, great. Well, as Dr. Whitfield mentioned, we have been an established committee since early 2019. For those of you that don't remember, this was the result of the Millennial Movement town halls that Mayor Colvin hosted back in 2018. And so this is actually one of the documents that we presented with our entire package. It was really interesting to go back and read. It was known as the City of Fayetteville Under 40 Commission. And so it was really cool to kind of read over the highlights of the symposiums that were held. There were 4 held across the city, as well as to read some of the research that was done on other organizations. And so some of the people that participated in those sessions really wanted this to be something that continued and that had some ground in the city. And so that is how the commission came to be. So first, we just want to thank you, Mayor Colvin and the council, for allowing us this opportunity. Even with COVID, I think we had a really great first year, as we're going to talk about today. But we're really excited to get back to work and get in motion. So first, you'll see we have our committee members. We are a commission of 13 commissioners, and we range from the ages of 19 to 39. So a pretty wide variety. Right now, it does fit the millennial generation. Obviously, in the future, that may change, but generally, that's the age group that we represent, because we kind of felt that outside of that, everyone else has representation in other areas of the city. So it was nice to get a wide group of people together. We have currently 10 active commissions, not 9 active commissioners, but today, later in the agenda, you'll see there is a presentation of names to be appointed for the next term. So we're really excited to get some new members, to have some of our one-term commissioners be reinstated for a longer period of time, and then again, to get that fresh energy and get started. For the main goals and objectives, you can see we basically just took this from the bylaws that were created when we were first established. Really, the biggest thing that we were tasked with is to help our age group stay in Fayetteville. Like Mayor Pro Tem Jensen mentioned earlier, there's wonderful talent that is in our community, but a lot of times they leave and they don't keep their talent here in the city. And so that was the biggest thing that the city wanted us to figure out. How do we keep them here? How do we make this a place that they want to stay? And eventually we've just come to coin the term stay and play in Fay. So that's kind of, I think, the best way that we can sum up what we are tasked to do. But really, we feed into this council's strategic goal of making Fayetteville a desirable place to live, work, and recreate for this generation. So that's basically our main purpose. Moving on to the summary of accomplishments, you'll see, again, we were only around for about a year, but we were able to get some things done. Our most notable achievement within the first year is we actually worked with Miss Rebecca Jackson, who works for the city as a strategic planner, and she helped us plan a full-day strategic planning retreat. I was actually really fortunate to have the opportunity to work with her. I was the director of programs for the commission at the time, and so we organized this workshop kind of with 2 goals in mind. One, we wanted to kind of get the group thinking in the right direction in the way that in some processes that the city already had established. And then also we wanted to really set a strong foundation because we were a new organization, and we wanted to make sure that the work that we did in this first year was long-standing and that we could become a sustainable organization. So that is something that we're revisiting. COVID hit right after our retreat when we were in the process of creating a formalized document. And now I think it's nice to kind of go back and revisit that and come up with some contingency plans in case we go through anything like this again. Some other things that we did participate in sessions with community partners such as Cumulus Broadcasting, the Affordable Housing Commission that's been doing studies here in the city, and some other local organizations just to provide feedback. Also, when we were meeting with some of those people, they were asking us questions about our generation and whatever services they were providing to the city, what is our perspective and what do we think needs to be prioritized. So it was really nice to have that great opportunity to really give them unfiltered feedback and also get information that we could then go back and spread to our constituents. Most recently, as we got back together in the new year, we did actually draft an introductory letter, a survey, and a poster with information about our goals and kind of where what we look like as an organization, which we sent to everybody that applied to be in the commission over the past 2 terms. And we also have shared this to our social media pages. Shameless plug, if you're not following us, go ahead and do that. We're trying to really grow that online presence, as you can see, because as we all know, it's become very popular and important these days. Some other things that we've done to try to give back in the community, we did partner with Tropical Smoothie to donate smoothies to some local city organizations like the hospital, law enforcement officers, and a few other organizations in the area. We put together a video of some commissioners reading a story for the Read Across America virtual readings that Cumberland County Schools was doing, as well as some other informational videos and just participating in events representing the Millennial Advisory Commission. Those are all of our main accomplishments. Again, only 1 year, but I'm really proud of the work that we did get done, especially given all of the things we had working against us. Some things that are coming up, you can see here, we've got the affordable housing discussion, like I already mentioned. We had some commissioners participate in the Saturday workshop that was held, and we will be having a more pointed conversation here in the next few weeks. New commissioners coming soon, and we're also working with some speakers who are going to come and host virtual events on a range of topics such as financial literacy, sustainability, things that really affect our millennials and things that get them excited, because we want them to have information, but also resources to get engaged. And most exciting, we are going to be assisting Cool Springs Downtown District and the Art Council with the mural that is going to be painted at Linear Park. Still in the works with that, but we're looking to get some community engagement going there. And it's just going to be a really beautiful project that's going to help, again, add to these goals. In terms of issues to address, we kept it pretty broad because we are so new. You know, we have, since the new year has come, we've had some pointed conversations with the mayor, with Mayor Pro Tem Jensen, who is our liaison, as well as Dr. Whitfield and some other members of the city staff to kind of help us get started again. But in terms of issues to address, we think the Millennial Advisory Commission has some external issues, so things that we can help the city advise them on and help do research and make policy recommendations around. So those things would be around civic education and participation, access to career and training opportunities, economic development, entertainment, and community engagement. That's a big thing that our generation is looking for. And then also collaborating and partnering with more local organizations, because we really do see ourselves more as a bridge and not necessarily the people who are going to come and reinvent the wheel. We want to help all the organizations that are already doing really great work out there get in touch with the right people and get their message out. In terms of internal resources, I apologize, it's a little cut out, but really we just want to, again, become established. We want to be a sustainable organization. We're working with the city to get some funding and resources to help us, do things in the community and actually be able to make an impact, as well as having that accountability from them, because ultimately we are there to advise the council, and we want to make sure that we are doing that job and that we're all being held accountable. And then the last one is really just assistance with formalizing our structure and processes as a new organization, which luckily we're already in the process of working with the city to address. Last but not least, we recommend that the Millennial Advisory Commission is given an outline of expectations and specific topics for us to research and kind of program around. We'd like this to come from the city because we know they have priorities. We know that they're in the process of figuring out their direction in the year ahead. And so we want to make sure that we are in line with that and that we're working in the same direction. We'd also like, once our new commissioners come on, we'd like to have kind of another orientation just to get us all back in the swing of things. Something that's comprehensive, but really helps us understand how the city works and how we can really make a difference and create action that's going to make an impact. And then lastly, we'd really love to have one event that introduces us to the city. I think the town halls were a great first step, but now that we've actually been established and we have some other pieces in order, we think maybe partnering with an already existing organization or an upcoming event would be a great way to just kind of get us out there in the spotlight and restart that progress that we had before everything kind of shut down. And then, of course, please accept our report. It's a little more broad than maybe some of the other ones are, but I think it does a great job at showing where we've been and where we're headed. And we're all just really grateful for this opportunity. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Very exciting information. I know that you guys certainly will do great things. It was always a vision of mine that once you had things set up, that you help advise us, just like many of the other advisory boards, so that we can embed a lot of your recommendations and your perspective into policy. And so I certainly am encouraged by the things that you've had. I know you've had the challenges with COVID, just like many other boards and commissions, but it hit at a time when you were just getting your formation. So look forward to great things ahead, and checking in with you guys, certainly to help us as we talk about, as the restrictions lift on quality of life issues, as the council contemplates how to return back to festivals and outdoor activities once the pandemic allows that, and other things to help advise us. So we certainly appreciate that. Do see a light for a question or two, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to have a few comments, and I wanted to thank Dr. Whitfield and Mr. Michael Gibson. They have been at the meetings with the Millennial Council and Commission, I apologize, and have really helped them broaden the way that they think about Fayetteville and the way that they can help. And I see a very strong future ahead of us and a lot of great things happening. But I do want to, as Kayla said, a shameless plug. Kayla, if you're still on the line, will you give out your Facebook and your Instagram following one more time? And I'm asking that every council member follow them and share it. They're doing a lot of great things, but when you're on Facebook and people aren't following you, you can be your own cheerleader, like a tree falling in the woods. So, Kayla, what is that again?
It is all under Fayetteville Millennial Advisory Commission. If it's shortened, it would be FayMac, M-A-C. But if you type in Fayetteville Millennial Advisory Commission, should get you what you're looking for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. All right. Seeing other questions, Council will probably need some action to receive the report. Councilman Davis.
Make a motion that we receive the report as presented with no changes, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. There's a motion by Councilman Davis to receive the report presented by the Fayetteville Millennial Commission. Is there a second? There's a second by Mayor Pro Tem. Any discussion on the motion? All right, Council, I'll look to you for your vote. All right, Councilmember Ingram?
Green.
Councilmember Waddell?
Green?
All right. Everyone else is present. All right. Madam Clerk, that is 9-0. All right. Thank you, guys. Look forward to talking to you next time. Item 8.0 is the public forum. Public forums, this is a time that any Fayetteville resident may have input and a voice in what goes on in their city. Due to policy restrictions, the forum will not last any longer than 30 minutes, and each speaker will be limited to only 3 minutes to address the City Council on issues related to the City of Fayetteville. Individuals wishing to speak at tonight's public forum should have signed up with the City Clerk prior to the start of tonight's meeting. If you are here to speak on items that may be on tonight's agenda under public hearing, we ask that you please reserve your comments until the public hearing begins. So when your name is called, we ask that you would be acknowledged via Zoom or telephone. Clearly state your name and home address for the record. Then the timer will start. The light will flash at from green to yellow, meaning you have 30 seconds remaining to speak. When you're notified that your time has expired, and again, due to policy restrictions, we're unable to extend the given time. That being said, Madam Clerk, please call your first speaker.
Yes, Mayor. We have 9 speakers signed up for this evening. Our first speaker is Mr. Wayne D.
Mr. D, are you there, sir? Mr. D, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members, for promptly cleaning up the racist mural around the Market House roundabout. I hope you found the literature and the website I sent you all regarding slavery, especially what had happened to the white Irish slaves, being treated worse than most have ever known before. I hope you found the literature and the websites I sent you all regarding that informative. Are you all aware of NCGS 13475 and NCGS 130-145? Are you all aware of those conflating numbers? For an example, you had a speaker on earlier, Capture the People. Was he making reference to NCGS 130-145, whereas you can force vaccinations upon people? Does anyone know what the numbers 78, 21, and 1 means? How about 0.04% and 4.4%? And how these masks have a thin line that doesn't protect you, but from yourself. Everyone that read a year ago on March 20 in the New England Journal of Medicine knows that the only ones that need to wear the mark is those considered contagious. What exactly is in the vaccination? What exactly causes the pain in human trials once they got the shot? What is the needle made out of? Those are my questions posed to you this evening. I look forward to your responses. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Mr. D. Madam Clerk, please call your next speaker.
Yes, sir. Our next speaker is Mr. Michael Pinkston.
Mr. Pinkston, are you there, sir? Mr. Pinkston, can you hear us?
How about now?
We have you, yes, sir.
All right. Well, Michael Pinkston, 7019 Calamar Drive, Fayetteville, North Carolina. And I'd like to start by saying that on behalf of the Market House, Save the Market House Committee and group, and the thousands of citizens who have signed a petition to see the Market House saved, we thank you very much for council's vote to not tear the Market House down or to do anything with the Market House at this particular time. However, I am reminded of the words of John F. Kennedy on June the 26th, 1963. He was visiting Berlin, and he said the words, "Ich Berliner." Loosely translated, that is, I am a Berliner. He identified with the people and specifically the Berlin Wall. It would be several decades later when President Ronald Reagan, on June the 12th, 1987, spoke the immortal words, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down these walls." So I think it's only fitting, Mr. Mayor, that it's time to tear down the wall around the Market House. Anytime we tear down walls, we have an opportunity for healing. And despite what people may think one way or the other about the Market House, it's time to heal. It's hard to heal when there's walls. There's all kinds of walls that we could talk about tonight. There's a whole lot of walls within City Hall and City Council. And there's a whole lot of walls within your constituents. But somehow we have to find the courage to come together. We have to find the courage to find out and to look out after the things that will really help make Fayetteville a sustainable community. I know, Mr. Mayor, that you and council have it within yourselves to bring this community together, to bring Fayetteville back together prior to the riots that we experienced last summer. Again, on behalf of the Save the Market House Committee, I genuinely thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I bid you all a good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Pinkston. Madam Clerk, please call your next speaker.
Our next speaker is Miss Ann Schrader.
Ms. Schrader, are you there?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Mayor Colvin and City Council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. Last month, I spoke on behalf of our environment and the many climate change impacts affecting our planet, to include North Carolina and Cumberland County. We are also reminded of the devastating impacts of Hurricane Matthew here in Fayetteville. And as our climate warms, these storms and other climate-related disasters are becoming more common, destructive, and costly. And we've seen this last month in the devastating tornado in Brunswick County and the unprepared electrical grid failure in Texas, leaving millions freezing without heat and drinking water. Global environmental scientists are calling the destruction to our environment an existential crisis that is demanding our global response. And although Cumberland County has prepared a climate resiliency plan and is involved in ongoing county improvements and solutions, climate preparedness focuses on the effects of climate change and not nearly enough on the causes. For example, the Cape Fear River is a main source of citizens' drinking water, yet even today, Chemours' decades-long intentional dumping of toxic forever chemicals continues to leave its pollution in our air and water and ground and well water, devastating families' health, lives, and homes. And also, Cumberland County's pastures and fields supply nearly 105 million worth of agricultural products or food per year. Yet these very pastures, through unhealthy practices, also contribute to toxic agricultural runoff in our waterways, poisoning and stripping our soils with chemical spraying and unsustainable farming practices, and lack of food waste awareness and regenerative composting education. And the County Agricultural Extension Department would make a good collaborative partner with this education. Shifting development patterns to sustainable community design, green buildings, and renewable energy supply may be demonstrated at or around downtown and City Hall, to include rooftop solar, electric car and charging station awareness, business, parks, and street recycling awareness programs, bins, and collection, and a county-wide environmental education plan. And our change.
Ms. Schrader, you still there? Ms. Schrader? She's still on, Jen? Yes, sir. Ms. Schrader, are you muted? You have like 7 seconds. Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am. Madam Clerk, please call your next speaker.
Miss Kathy Greggs.
Ms. Greggs, are you there?
Hello, my name is Kathy Greggs. My address is 4607 Woodline Drive, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28314. Tonight, I'm calling you as a citizen of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and the issue that I have is the code ordinance for code of ethics. There has been several council members that has been violating code of ethics. If you read section 2-93, violation of conflict of interest, violation of also getting gifts, also representation of private persons, and attending meetings with confidentiality information being across to others. The reason why I am addressing this is because I feel as though that this needs to be addressed and that complaints need to be submitted, which will be submitted sometime this week against several council members that are violating these code of ethics, as well as policies that is implemented by our city council members. We feel as though that because we are paying you a salary to do your job, but yet you violate the ethics that you implement, makes no sense to us at all. And we want to make sure that you don't get voted in office again because of the violations. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Madam Clerk, please call your next speaker.
Now, our next speaker is Miss Maya Warren.
Ms. Warren, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
My name is Maya Warren. My address is 969 Bassman Lane, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28314. I am calling to talk about a couple of issues. The first one that I feel is more important is going to be the traffic issue that occurs in the Cliffdale area. I believe it was last week or the week before last. Unfortunately, I had to witness a car accident involving a citizen and a police officer. And while standing there, making sure everyone was okay, I overheard citizens talking about the lack of traffic lights that are in that particular area. There have been many, many fatalities and very bad car accidents that have happened in the Cliffdale area due to lack of traffic lights in front of these apartment complexes. My apartment complex is one of them that is like pretty much directly, as soon as you leave out of the apartment complex, you're in the middle of traffic. And so I, myself, and other citizens feel as if traffic lights are very much so needed to help save the lives of citizens every day because the traffic is very bad on that side of town. Another issue I want to talk about is this Citizens Review Board. I know last week there was a motion that got approved. And I do want to say that as a citizen, I do not want a citizen advisory board. There's no power that comes with a citizen advisory board. We need a citizens review board because we need action to follow up with that. I myself have had to file a complaint against an officer just last week because I was pulled over because he knew who I was, not because I was in any trouble. This officer never got behind me. He was not able to run my tags. I went to the police department to file a complaint, and he was more concerned about letting the officer know and warning him that I was filing a complaint than actually taking my complaint. I talked to a Sergeant Collins, who I have not heard back from to follow up, who told me he was going to watch car cam and body cam footage. So this is a prime example as why we need a citizens review board and not an advisory board. I do not appreciate being harassed by the Fayetteville Police Department. That officer does need to be dealt with, and I will continue to push until something is done. This right here is something that not only happens to me, but many other citizens. And until we can get a board in place to truly help what is going on, this is going to continue to be an issue. Officers are going to continue to get away with harassing citizens. I do not, and I'm saying this because I know the chief of police is there, even though, Chief, I'm not coming at you in any kind of way. I do not appreciate being harassed by an officer simply because he knows who I am. Get behind me first, run my tags, and then you have the right to pull me. But you never got behind me. So I'm saying this to the city council to say, when you talk about this citizens review board tonight, keep that in mind that it just doesn't happen to me. It happens to many other citizens. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, your next speaker.
The next speaker is Dr. Johnny Hunter.
Dr. Hunter, are you there? Dr. Hunter, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. This is Dr. Johnny Hunter, an ordained minister of the gospel, living at 1817 Broadale Drive. It has come to my attention that the citizens are being given the impression that the city of Fayetteville is a racist city, and we needed the Black Lives Matter mantra painted on the streets to bring attention to racial issues. I stand in agreement with Dr. Alveda King and many others that there's only one race, the human race. Scriptures record there were 12 tribes made the children of Israel. Each tribe had a unique battle, responsibility, and role. Tribe of Judah known for their praise. The Levites, the only one who could touch out the covenant. Yet as different as each tribe were, they were the same family, the children of Israel. Today, the human race is made of many ethnic communities. Each community has a culture and a history. Each culture has a heritage that was handed down from generations. We speak different languages, and even when we speak the same tongue, our accents vary. Even in my family, my wife and I have a Southern accent, my children have a Northern accent. The current population of Fayetteville is over 200,000. The 2010 census stated the composition of the city was 45% white, 41% black, African Americans. Asian Americans was at 2%, 1% for Native Americans. We even had 0.4% for the National Hawaiian, and other races, 10% for Hispanic. But no one can imply that this city is racist when the mayor, 7 of 9 city council members, the police chief, and the sheriff, as well as a number of judges, are from the black community. Then for an organization with leaders trained by Marxists for their political agenda to pretend that they have my best interest to stir the flames of racial unrest is a great injustice. And just so anyone's skin is melanin, has melanin, that doesn't mean that they're my friend. It has become obvious to me that Black Lives Matter organization only cares when a criminal dies in police custody. If you're a law-abiding citizen, crook shoots you, even if you're black, there's no fundraiser for them, for their political allies. There is not one city in this nation, not even Fayetteville, where their protests have remained peaceful and nonviolent. With that in mind, I would say let's not ever paint, if you're gonna paint something, put all lives matter. Of course, they'll be mad at it if you do. In fact, if you paint all Black lives matter, they'll be mad. The onus is now on the Black community to relieve racial tension. To everyone who call themselves Christians, forgive. If you die with hate and unforgiveness in your heart, you will not be forgiven by Almighty God. It's my recommendation that we reject the message of hate, remove any Black Lives Matter from any streets of Fayetteville, and if we're going to replace it, put the word all, or just don't put them at there all, or put a Hispanic Lives Matter, or everybody. The best solution is to never allow one group to get special treatment over communities of every ethnicity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, please call your next speaker.
Our next speaker is Miss Angela Malloy.
Ms. Malloy, can you hear us? Ms. Malloy, can you hear us? Ms. Malloy, are you there? Is she on, Jim? Ms. Malloy, can you thumb up if you can hear us? Okay, we can't hear you. Are you unmuted? All right, let's move to the next one while Ms. Malloy works out her technical issues.
Our next speaker is Mr. Sean McMillan.
Mr. McMillan, are you there, sir?
Yes, Sean McMillan, 6024 Golden Range Drive. Good evening. City Council, don't shortchange the people of Fayetteville. Please lead with the moral courage to establish meaningful, independent oversight of the FPD. Bottom line up front, our community needs a civilian police oversight authority to serve in conjunction with a civilian review board. A CPOA is the fully staffed resource group of oversight professionals that our community needs and deserves if we are to have meaningful, independent oversight of the FPD. Tonight marks the 9th time we've spoken to the City Council over the last 18 months. A week ago, amidst the outcry over driving while black, to statistics that show that just as in 2012, the FPD disparately targets black and brown drivers in this city, the council made arguably the most substantial movement towards establishing oversight of the FPD since 2014. Amen for that, and thank you. Tonight, we see courage in the form of movement toward establishment of a CRB. Please, council, do everything in your power to do what's right. When PACT spoke to a special meeting of the council last July, we warned specifically about lessons learned from hundreds of oversight bodies across the country. Lessons collected by NACO and readily available as open source data. According to NACO, oversight is proactive. It's not just reviewing misconduct complaints. It is independent. It must be independent of authorities, not subsidiaries of police departments they oversee, and it must be independent and permanently secured financially. Please do not waste time and resources establishing a toothless advisory organization without funding, staffing, expertise, or resources. NACO says oversight is not done from the top down. Oversight is not performative, and oversight is not solely volunteer-based. It's staffed and resourced with credentialed oversight professionals. Diving headfirst into previously established pitfalls will ensure that future politicians will be forced to rightfully do what you willfully choose to neglect. We again applaud the efforts to establish the CRB. We again repeat and offer to meet with any council member or city leader, and PACT will also gladly facilitate meetings between the council and NACO. If this council fails to establish meaningful and independent oversight in the form of a CPOA in conjunction with the CRB, the Citizen Review Board, I can guarantee that leaders in the future will see you as accommodationist, as leaders who chose the comfort of incrementalism when the day demanded systemic change. Forward together, not one step back, all of us or none of us. And just for the previous caller, I'm going to say Black Lives Matter. Absolutely, every day and unequivocally. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ms. Malloy, are you there? Can you hear us? Is she on?
Hello?
Okay, we got you now.
Okay. My name is Angela Malloy. I am at 404 Pilot Avenue, Fayetteville, North Carolina. On the day after we heard that someone from the royal family questioned, quote, how dark would the baby be, unquote, referring to Prince Harry and Meghan's son, Archie, it lets us know that the worldwide. It is because of that narrative why I emailed Councilman Dawkins about his line of questions last week when discussing the Crown Act, an act to end discrimination against Black hair in the workplace. So for you, Councilman Dawkins, to ask about food safety and bring up the topic of coils when there regarding hair perpetuates the white supremacist notion that Blackness equates to uncleanliness. Just as the question presented to Harry and Meghan may be classified as, quote, just seeking clarity and understanding, unquote, it shows that it does not make it right, just as your question and concern was not right. I will spare the public from the use of an elementary level word I received in your reply to my email as well last week. Being aware of the racial environment in our city, it is vital that the work that my organization, Mama's Village Fayetteville, located right in the heart of downtown, 1 block from where enslaved Black folks were sold. Our organization provides birth doula support, breastfeeding support, postpartum and mental health care, along with professional training services focusing on Black maternal and child health here in Cumberland County and across our state. We will be actively advocating for the support and passing of the Omnibus Act, as well as hosting an event during Black Maternal Health Week on April 16th and 17th. We will be extending an invitation to the entire council to take this time to learn about the services, research projects, and training we provide to help address and improve disparities due to racism in our community, contrary to the previous speaker who feels that racism is not alive in our community. It was mentioned also by Councilwoman Jensen in response to that email. She wishes to be at the table for these uncomfortable conversations, but desires not to be judged. When making the conscious decision to desire a space at the table designed to focus on Black bodies, there will be uncomfortable conversations. Feeling judged is just that, a feeling. But the act of change requires us to move outside of our feelings and intentions and move towards improving outcomes, because outcomes saves lives, not intentions. I hope you, as you begin to consider your support for birthing people in our community, that you will take this time to make sure that we provide support for our families so that they can birth safely in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have any other speakers?
Yes, sir. Our final speaker is Iman Iranami Muhammad Smith.
The minister himself. Can you hear us? Okay. Councilman Dawkins, you had your light on briefly.
I'm not going to dignify it with a comment, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no further speakers, Mayor.
All right, with that, we'll move past the public forum to the public hearing. Just before we do it, I always like to make sure that the public is following our actions and that they understand. A lot of us, sometimes they get snippets of information, but tonight or nearly a week ago, the council at a council member request by Councilman Davis agreed to a Citizens Advisory Board, which is within the power of this body to create a local board or commission to advise or to improve relationships with the police. We've tasked staff based on council direction to come back with the structure of what that looks like, and the council will take action on that once it's presented to either positively move that forward or not. Citizens Review Board was added to tonight's agenda, but that is in and of itself not within the capability of the Fayetteville City Council to do without special legislative approval. It is our understanding that one of the members of our delegation has asked for an updated resolution, which would be the fourth resolution by this body to request that. We did have a meeting with our local delegation body, and they indicated to us that no such authorizations have been granted over the last 12 or 15 years by the General Assembly. So even though the council could take action as far as it can go without state approval, I want to make that clear to the viewing audience tonight that the city council does not have the authority to do that, but we will make the recommendations to forward any resolutions if it is successful tonight at the discussion. So that is the difference between citizens review, which has certain authorities and capabilities, and citizens advisory, which would be in kind to stormwater advisory, millennial advisory that we heard from earlier tonight, and other organizations or committees that are created by the council. So I just want to clarify that. So as we go into public hearing tonight, the public forum, this is a time that any public hearing, had it upside down. Individuals desiring to speak at the public hearing must have signed up to speak with the city clerk by name and address before 7 this evening. 15 minutes will be allowed for each side of the issue at the public hearing. Individual speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each unless a previous arrangement and a single spokesperson has been designated, in which case the single spokesperson may use the entire 15 minutes. When the city clerk calls your name, please be recognized. Clearly state your name and address. When the light changes from green to amber, means you have 30 seconds remaining. At the end of your allotted time, the timer will ring. So at this time, I'll go to Mr. Hewitt, or member of staff, to present the public hearing.
Mayor, this item is related, as you said, to the renaming. And at this point in time, the council directed this be sent to the Parks Recreation Advisory Committee. They came back with a favorable recommendation. It came back to council, and you set it for a public hearing tonight. This would, if following the public hearing, council could take action to rename the portion of Cross Creek Park that staff could identify, if needed, after Mayor Beth Finch. But subject to any questions you have, it may be more appropriate to open up the public hearing and see if there's anyone here. And then Michael and others are here to answer any specific questions you might have about how we would proceed further.
All right, thank you. Madam Clerk, we have any speakers?
We do not, sir.
All right, so with that, I'll open and then close the public. Well, I guess we'll keep it open for discussion. Well, we'll close the public hearing. Do have a question, Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did not have a question. Well, it might be a question for the city attorney. Can we go, since we have the public hearing, we have opened it and closed it, can we go ahead and take a vote on whether we move ahead?
Yes,
I would like to make that motion.
There's a motion by Mayor Pro Tem to advance the renaming of Cross Creek Park after the previous former Mayor Beth Finch. There's a second by Councilman Dawkins. Any discussion on the motion? All right, Council, I'll look to you for your vote. Is that discussion? Okay.
Yeah.
Councilman Dawkins.
Well, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for allowing me to second Mayor Pro Tem's motion. Mayor Beth Finch was a great business leader. How I met her, I was involved with the chamber, which is primarily its main focus is to support business, and we'll take big business, but we're mainly focused on how we can help small business make more money in the city of Fayetteville. And from that, you've seen, a Black Chamber of Commerce get created. You've seen different organizations that have done everything they can to help those less fortunate, especially our minority businesses, to succeed. Beth Finch was a pioneer. She was the head of her corporation, which was a fuel oil jobber. Now, Councilmember Wright and Councilmember Hare and I remember Gulf Oil, G-U-L-F, and some of you younger folks remember Gulf. But they were Tom and Beth Finch were a Gulf Oil jobber, and they were very focused on hiring the less fortunate. They were right down the street from Dawkins Lumber Company when they got in operation, and that was my granddaddy's and my great uncle Charlie. And in that area of South King Street were a lot of, they were called the Dawkins Projects. Granddaddy built these tiny little 2-room shotgun type houses that primarily were housed by African Americans that worked at Dawkins Lumber Company, and many of them worked at Finch Oil Company. So I didn't want this to go by quickly. I do hope the council will support it, but I want folks to know, and her picture is on our wall, and she is beside Jack Lee and Bill Hurley, who later became Representative Bill Hurley. So kudos to you ladies on this council. Kudos to your our ladies in our staff leadership that make our city run much smoother. Kudos to our female police officers, to our fire department female employees, to our female bus drivers, all females in our system. And you can look forward, I know, to Mayor Beth Finch and the naming of this park. And hopefully you'll feel some sense of pride that I think this may be the first park we've ever named for a lady. So thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, and for your leadership. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Pro Tem, you had something?
Thank you. Just real quick for my fun facts. Mayor Beth Finch was the first elected woman to the city council. She was the first mayor pro tem, and she was our first and only woman mayor. So that just a little history of all the great things that she did, but how great today is that we get to have this vote on International Women's Day. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Wright?
Yes, I just wanted to make a correction. I think that Councilwoman Mabel Smith, there's a park named after her.
Agreed.
Councilman, you are correct. Thank you.
All right. All right. Councilman, we have a motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem, second by Councilman Dawkins. We've had discussion. I'll look to you for your votes on this item. All right. Councilmember Ingram?
Green.
Councilmember Waddell?
Green.
All right. Madam Clerk, it is unanimous by those present. Motion carries. Congratulations to Mayor Finch and to Mayor Finch's family.
Thank you.
And Mayor Pro Tem, thank you. Item 10.01, approval of this Senior Center East Building Program and Design. Mr. Gibson, you just getting to work.
At some point, people gonna stop. I'm a quick coming here.
If you say it enough, they start to believe it, don't they?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Let's see if I can find this thing. Oh, boy.
They like you, man. They like you.
It don't feel that way. Mayor, Council, there has been a concerted effort to bring quality projects with the bond referendum and the people's dollars. The team that we've been putting together and the manager has been championed with Cliff Isaac and the Parks and Recreation staff, the construction management staff, and sort of leaning on them to make sure that they keep me straight. We've presenting tonight what we believe the Senior Citizen East Center will look like, what that programming will be, where it's sited over on Filter Plant and Washington Drive. So we want to make sure that we keep you informed as to what's going on, because this one is moving at a feverish pace. And if you can see your screen, over in the top left-hand corner is Murchison Road, is the main street. There's a Washington Drive, and then you see Filter Plant. There's a 9.7, 9.8 acre site. And then down at the bottom, you can see where the Murchison Road goes by. And then in the main screen, you can see where and how we plan to shape that area. Fayetteville State is a partnering agency and adding tremendous value to this endeavor. And then you can see where we plan to put roughly 15,000 square feet of senior space. That's in conjunction with a wellness center that Fayetteville State is doing with roughly about 102 car parking space, with a nice plaza, with the little Cross Creek at the bottom of the site. So we wanted to make sure that you had enough information so that you could champion this endeavor for us. Here's what we believe this facility would look like from local architects in Fayetteville. You can see how the elevations are and how this building will look from a southern elevation and a northern elevation, and what that does to that corridor. And when you're coming up Murchison Road or going down Filter Plant, how we change that previous area. And we wanted to make sure that you were comfortable with what we were doing and what that will look like. If you can see the Senior Citizen East and the programming of the building, one of the things that we wanted to do is appeal to the clientele that's in the community in that area with some basic elements that we have in in the other Senior Citizen West, with the aquatics area for training, for exercise. One of the things that we've added, because we've got a neighboring wellness center to us, is that we've added a couple of racquetball courts, a little yoga, fitness. One of the things that I'm really proud about is being able to have sort of like a coffee juice bar. I always say that when you walk into it, it'll be just like sort of walking into a nice hotel area where people can relax and seniors can have that comfortable area. And then we also added a library area on the corner of the building, and you still have your kitchen, and you still have an area where 1,700 square feet of multi-purpose space. And then in the lobby, there's a nice little card table area. And then out front, you'll have a nice covered porch. That's the end of the presentation. If there's any questions, I'd be more than happy, and hopefully you receive.
Do have a question, sir.
Go right ahead.
What's the schedule for this? When might we see some dirt moving? And
and Cliff's here if he wants to make sure that but this is the reason that I was sort of pushing to make sure that this gets up here is because we're moving very fast. You would hope that in the next 90 days we would be bringing back some information that you could react to as far as the final design, final layout, added value, and then hopefully putting this out on the street.
Because we know the cost of construction is going up.
Yes, sir. That's why
we get someone on the hook with a proposal.
Yep.
Okay.
We don't want any more misunderstandings.
All right. Yeah. No, I don't like that. Okay. All right. Councilman Davis, Wright, and Kinston. Oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Ingram, Wright, Ingram, Davis, Wright, Kinston.
Okay, Mr. Gibson, thank you so much. This looks really good. I'll say that for another conversation. Is there any action needed from us on this tonight?
Well, I think the only action that you're going to see from here is there's going to be a MOU coming with Fayetteville State to solidify this agreement of how this lays out on this property. We want to make sure that everybody's comfortable and that there are no dead areas as to how this agreement goes. So you'll be seeing that hopefully by the end of the week, first of next week.
So there's nothing of action. This is a purely update for tonight.
Well, exactly. And if there's anything that this group or this body sees that's a little uncomfortable, we want to know now, because we're at that point of no return.
Well, I will say this, and and this is just through hearsay. I've not necessarily always been in the planning stages. I've not been in the planning stages of the Senior Center West. But I will. What I would like is I'm comfortable with how this looks, especially for. I'm comfortable with how this looks, especially for the Senior Center East. And I think I think our citizens, especially ones that are committed to that area and love going to that senior center, I think they would be very appreciative. And so, I personally wouldn't necessarily add anything extra to it. I think this is great. I personally spent a lot of time at the senior center. But just looking at what it's coming from to what it's going to, this looks amazing to me. I will say I kind of thought it would have been 2 stories, but I think this looks really good. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Davis.
Good job, Mike.
Thank you, sir. And it's a team effort now.
Councilman Wright.
Yes. If I recall, just this is a great design, and I know we're talking about East, but look like you have some amenities there that we don't have out West, and I'm just wondering. I mean,
Really,
the
Larry?
cost. I'm excited for you guys, man. That's great, but I was just wondering. Hopefully, we kind of a little jealous a little bit.
What?
But
Don't take
he
that
said
bait,
don't bite
Mike.
on that. So I just wanted to tease with you a little bit. Great job.
All right. Councilmember Banks McLaughlin.
Banks McLaughlin made me do it.
What are you doing?
One of the things I wanted to make sure that the legal age or the age that we recognize for seniors is starting at 55 years of age and moving forward. I really want to make sure that we don't sort of make light of this, but one of the things that from the corridor committee and gateway committee and how you change the feel of how a community starts to have that rebirth is by having great collaborations, great teamwork with other organizations so that you move things forward. And we just believe that this is one that takes us to a different place in this community with a great university at Fayetteville State. So we need that approval here to say, thank you, move forward, we agree, get the votes so that we can now tell our local contracting agency that they're doing a great job and we can go forward.
You're getting it. So I'm confused. Now, do you need action tonight, or this was just an update? Because
Yes.
you said you do need action.
Just to say that you
All right.
approve of the design,
All
keep
right.
going.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to make a motion that we approve the design of, excuse me?
Beg your pardon?
I was prepared to make the motion. That's why I was asking if there was any action needed
She has the
tonight.
floor right now, Councilwoman.
So, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to make a motion that we approve the design of the Senior Center East.
All right, there's a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Jensen. There was a second by Councilman Wright. Any discussion on the motion? All right, Council, I look to you for your votes. All right, Councilmember Ingram.
Green.
Councilmember Waddell.
Green.
All right, Madam Clerk. Motion carries unanimously. Are
Thank
those
y'all so much.
voted? All right, Mike, take care, buddy. Good job. All right, item 10.02, boards and commission recommendations. So, Council, I know that as we consider this item, I know that I don't know if it was over the weekend or just Thursday prior to the weekend, but there was immediately following the boards and commission meeting, we found that there was not a consensus reached on one of the most critical boards that this council approves the appointments for, the PWC. that 2 names were submitted, but neither one came by way of a consensus of the body of the board. And so all 10 applications came to us. Very important decision to make with our greatest, most valuable asset of PwC and who will help govern that. Asking council if they would consider for us to get just a little more time to analyze those 10 applications that came forward, to actually, vet and look into the people who were there. So as we talk about that, if you could, possibly we'll introduce that as a option. And I know there were some other components to that, but I'll ask that we would give some consideration to that. I see Councilmember Wright and then Waddell and Kinston.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, and you kind of really led me into my motion here, and I know there'll probably be further discussion, but I would like to make that motion that we would table the item until March the 22nd, which is our next meeting.
Can we hold on that motion?
So yeah, no, I was going to ask him if he could circle back. Let me catch the questions, and then I'll come right back to you. Councilmember Waddell?
Thank you, sir. Unfortunately, I think that the way that you've explained it is not quite accurate, because we did have consensus of the committee to move forward the 2 names that were an even split, which were Elisa Debnam and Rona. I don't have my book open to her last name right now, but that was the consensus of the committee, was to move those 2 names forward. Now, if something has changed between now and then, that's news to me. I don't know about the rest of the committee. And we did recommend to, during that committee meeting, that everybody be notified immediately. And I want to point out, I don't know if anybody has seen the book that I'll leave it at that.
Well, the basis of that was there was an attendee on Zoom who basically asked a question. I talked to the clerk as well as the other 2 who were taking minutes, and the information that I got back was there was a 2-2 split, but there was not a vote by the committee to do that. And typically the recommendations don't come in 2s, but from my understanding, according to the official records from the meeting, that there was not a consensus action taken to do that, which resulted in all 10 applications coming to council and not the 2 that you referenced. So that was the basis of that. So, well, whatever the council's pleasure is, but I would personally like the ability to be able to look into that. But Councilmember Kinston, you had a question?
Absolutely, Mayor. So in the committee meeting, and thank you for acknowledging me, Mayor, in the committee meeting, it was a 2-2 split. There was 2 names that was recommended to come to council. At the same time, the other applicants were asked to be sent. But let me explain the process as I did with Councilmember Davis. This book that we went through was over 900 pages. The council was given the authority to make the recommendations to come to council. We did not approve or did not get a consensus on the PwC one. I think it's important that the appointment committee, the 2 names that we submitted to council are the 2 names that comes forth to council. This is a lot of work that goes into this process. And I will say I definitely do not appreciate the fact of circumventing the process for the work that's been done. If there was a conversation that this needs to be moved or delayed, I don't think that was a conversation that the committee had. So therefore, the 2 names that were submitted, which were Alicia Dunham, which was done by Councilmember Waddell and myself, and Councilmember Jensen and Councilmember Davis submitted Rona Garrett to come forth to council. The other names were not submitted as a recommendation. There was only those 2 that were submitted as a recommendation. So I would ask that we continue to go forward with the process that has been set for the council, and would appreciate that we follow that. Thank you.
Thank you. Just for clarification, Councilman Davis, are you on this committee? Okay. So if, on a committee, if there's 4 members present, you need a total of 3 votes.
Technically 5, because you're on the committee.
Yeah, but present at that particular meeting. You need a majority to move the legislation forward or the recommendation. Just like this board, if we vote 5 to 5, it doesn't go forward. You need a consensus as a majority. So that would at least take 3. Are you saying that there was an action by the 3 because it's not reflected in the records nor the people who zoomed in?
Mayor, when we left that meeting, it was 2 names that were supposed to come to council for recommendation. Mayor Pro Tem, I would like for you to speak up, but there was only 2 names that was brought forth.
Right. Okay.
Me. Okay, first of all, before we start throwing these women's names out, we need to say them correctly. It's Alicia Dedman and Ronna Garrett, okay? So we've said their names like 4 different ways. So with that being said, when we were at the meeting, it was between, these 2 women were picked. And we said, well, we had a thing, said, let's go back. And then at the end of it, they said, no, we're going to bring it back to council. So let everybody decide. Now, I'm going to show my age up here on council. Councilmember Kinston and Councilmember Waddell, we have had knockout, drag out, nights of boards and commissions. Boards and commissions is probably the hardest, most time-consuming job as a committee. And our book this time around was unbelievable, and we did a fantastic job. But we can bring 2 people to the council, and if we don't have the votes, it is the council that has to say yes. So whatever we bring, we can have these list of names, and if 6 people, because 6 to 4, do not like certain things on this, it can be changed. I've seen it done a ton of times. So I guess the question is, with Councilmember Wright's motion, I guess we need to find out, is there 6 that are wanting to do that? We bring a recommendation to the council, and we brought our recommendation to the council.
But
Now,
what the mayor is saying is that no recommendation came forward from the committee. And Kinston is asking for clarification in regards to that, and I still haven't heard that clarification.
Well, let me say what I'm saying.
I was trying.
There's an email received that had all 10 applicants on it, which is inconsistent with what you all are saying happened, okay? And so I heard 2 things. I heard from a third party who just attended via Zoom that there was no official action taken on the 2 names. Then I heard you, Councilmember Kinston, say that there was a 2-2 split, which is not an action or anything that is affirmative coming out of the committee structure. But all 10 came, and so as she said, the committees are not able to operate in and of themselves. The actions that they take are just recommendations to come to council, which they're here. So, whatever we decide is what we decide. So, it's not saying that there's a right or wrong one way or another. Right. I was basically explaining why we received 10 names instead of the 2 names.
Mayor, when we were in the meeting, and I want to make sure that we clarify this, when we were in the meeting, before we ended that meeting, the conversation was there is 2 names to go to council. I made a call the next morning to inquire about the other 10 so that you understood the process of how we got to those 2 names. But there was only 2 names discussed that was asked to bring back to council because it was recommended that those 2 names were given to council to review.
So was there an official vote from the committee on those 2 names?
We did not.
Because it's not in the record.
Committees don't take official votes. We take consensus, and it was handled the same way that every other recommendation was made that's brought before you.
That's not
tonight.
true. Committees vote all the time.
We in our committee, Mr. Mayor, and I don't mean to sound argumentative, but in our committee, we didn't take a vote on anything. So if you go back and you watch how the committee was handled and was chaired, there was no vote on any of them. It was a dialogue, and then instruction was given. There was never a vote. There was never, the word consensus was not utilized consistently to get our
Councilwoman,
commitment.
and I don't want to belabor it because we are where we are. At the end of the day, in order to find the consensus, you still have to ask everyone what their pleasure is.
And this is the only point I'm trying to make. That was done. And I'm not sure why Chairwoman Jensen is not affirming that that was done, but what was done in that meeting was, before we left, the dialogue between the four of us was, we are at a deadlock 2-2. And so these two names will go to council for council to deliberate upon. That was the instruction that was provided when we recessed that meeting. But it seems that.
So how do we receive all 10 names then?
You really should have received if it would have been consistent with our prior process, you all would have had access to the PDF file that contained every application for every board and commission. But we didn't even get a PDF file this time because we had a book that was so enormous that there was no PDF file given. But I can't answer to why you received what you received, but I was in the committee meeting and I can tell you exactly what the expectation was of the committee when we came to this meeting. Now, if that has changed since then, I believe that both Councilmember Kinston and I can understand that, but we do not want it to be misrepresented. And I hope that you don't mind me taking the liberty, Councilmember Kinston, to speak on your behalf, but we don't want it to be misrepresented, the work that was done in that meeting. And if you
No, ma'am, I'm not trying to
third party-
misrepresent anything. I was just basically trying to understand it. But at the end of all of that, we're here with the council's action pending because it is just a recommendation. These committees are not able to make official action or appointments in and of themselves. Everything they do come back to a council level. So I think we're kind of arguing about what happened during that. I wasn't there. I was just going basically on what I had verified with the clerks based on a question asked Mayor Pro Tem. All 10 names came back tonight. That just happened 4 days ago or 5, which was my point initially to say that we have 10 applications for the most important appointment we have. And so I asked for the type of discussion we're having tonight to consider us to look at it because you guys got that thick packet. We all got it. When was it? Probably whenever they came out with the boards and commissions book. That was some time ago. And so after having a few conversations about that, it was not reflected that there was any official action taken by it. The notes that you're saying, and I'm not debating it because I wasn't at the meeting, but I do understand what we're saying. But I'll go to Councilmember Ingram and then Councilmember Wright, and we'll take whatever. Oh,
Mayor, I have my button pushed.
You probably need to push red then because you already had the green. Okay.
Can
All
you
right.
hear
So
me?
Councilmember Ingram, Jensen, Kinston, and Wright.
So I guess I'm trying to follow and understand. Okay, first answer this for me. Is the question being asked that we hold off on this decision tonight? Is that what's being asked of us?
Well, we haven't gotten to that point to ask Councilmember Wright that because there were questions before he made his motion. But Councilmember Wright will come. Councilmember Wright, if you want to answer a question.
Sure. Yeah, the motion would be to,
No. I'm trying to figure out what are we getting ready to vote on tonight? Are we moving forward with choosing the Public Works Commissioner, or are we going to do something different? Because I would have concerns if we are not going to go ahead and choose the commissioner tonight. And let me ask that directly to the mayor. Mayor, is that what your understanding is? Is that what you're asking tonight?
What I'm asking, I've already clarified what I'm asking. What I was asking for the council to consider this email that we received on Wednesday or Thursday, the day after the last boards and commission meeting, to have an opportunity
of the full 10 applicants, correct?
The email consisted of the 10. I'm not understanding what you're asking.
Okay, so so then this is my concern. I'm a fan of our board and commissions because that is where a lot of the work of of the city kind of gets done. And I've seen what that book looks like that they are speaking of. And I know that some members on that board go through that book extensively. And I think it's almost an insult to not take their word on what, Mayor, you appoint them to do. And so I also would have concern in prolonging this conversation, because from my understanding, I know I've received calls from a council member to ask for support of someone who probably missed the deadline to be appointed to this commission. And I don't know if they know the process or not, but I go by the recommendation of what those appointees to that appointments committee put in the work for, because that is a serious job to have. So those are my concerns laid out. I would hope that we move forward with selecting the new commissioner for PWC tonight, because once again, our appointments committee has put in the work to get us this far.
So Councilmember Ingram, appreciate it. You said a couple things here that need to be clarified. It is not automatic that what comes out of the appointments committee is approved, okay? Even though 90% of the time it is. I'm not making a judgment on the two names that you had. I simply asked a question last week, what happened during the meeting, based on getting a call from some people who witnessed the meeting, okay? One of which was a former council member who knows the process that we use, who stated that there was not official action taken. So I didn't go off of their word. I simply asked the clerk, all three of them, or two out of the three, if they recalled an action being taken for the two names, one name, 10 names, whatever it was, if there was action taken. So that was the question about it. The committees are recommendations, but there was no clear recommendation according to that. Now, I don't know if it was recorded. I don't know if it was on Zoom, but I think what happened when all 10 names came mean that you didn't make a decision, okay? All 10 emails with the names came said you did not make a decision, so here's everybody. And so a board this important is $1 billion enterprise. We've had problems with PwC. We've appointed people that we probably shouldn't have appointed. So all I ask for consideration is that we actually take time and look, in addition to whatever conversation you all had, at the 10 people that we're doing, that we're putting on there. And it may come back down to your people, but you got 10 people 5 days ago. So unless there's something else going on behind the scenes, that is the genesis of the discussion tonight. So that is it in its entirety from my perspective. So I'll go to Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Jensen, and then Kinston, and then Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have one thing to say, and I just want to clarify. When we did have the meeting, it was down to two people, two one way, two another way. When we were at the meeting, I said, do we want to table this for a month so we can go back and look at everything? And it was said, no, we're just going to take it to the council and the council will decide. That was what was said. We are here at the council, and it is the council's decision to decide out of 1 out of 10 people. We brought the recommendation of 2. Would that be the easy way to do it? Absolutely. Would that be able, take the vote and move? PwC, every time we have a new member that comes in, this is nothing new. This is nothing new. It is a discussion that goes on because we have to make sure, and as the mayor said, there are a lot of times we pick people for boards and commissions, and this and EDC are one of the most important commissions that we have. So I just wanted to put that out there to say what was said at the end of the meeting. Yes, we did leave out of there and say we were going to recommend 2 people. It is the city council as a body to decide whether it's those 2 people or not, because The city council has the right to pick any of the 10.
All right, Councilmember Kinston.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for clarifying that. I will say that the email came out on Wednesday, Mayor, so I would like to ask, when did you get the call indicating that there was not a consensus or a vote that was done? My concern, again, is in the email, it states that there was 10 applications, and that, please note, 2 of the applications were recommended by the appointment committee to serve on the board. Again, like as Mayor Pro Tem said, this is a recommendation. My concern, again, is the fact that we had a book that is 900 and something plus pages. Took me over 22 hours to do the work on this. And I understand that this recommendation comes to council, just like all the other recommendations that we do. So I'm going to say this. If there was a policy or a procedure that was not followed in our meeting for the appointment committee, then we need to look at it, because I do not appreciate doing the work and coming before council and then it be questioned by a previous council member who brought to attention something that should have been done. So I'm ready to vote. Thank you.
So, Councilwoman Kinston, this is not about whether you did the work. Okay.
Yes, sir, 'cause I did the work.
Well, let me finish my point before I read the email that you just quoted. Yes, sir. Even though you did the work, that's what the committees do. They do a lot of work. You guys do a great job. That doesn't mean that the council has to move in lockstep to the fact because you did the work or we're discounting the work that you did. It's always a recommendation, and the council always has the last say-so. So I would hope we don't make it that. But this is the email that I received on Wednesday from the clerk. Mayor and City Council, at the March 2nd, 2021 appointment, the appointment committee did not have a consensus vote for a recommended appointment to PwC. Please find the attached 10 PwC applications for 1 vacant position. Please note, 2 of the applicants were recommended by the appointment committee to serve on other boards. It didn't say that they were recommended to move forward to council. It said that 2 of the people were recommended to serve on other boards. Council will be asked to vote on this item on March the 8th in the regular city council meeting. That is tonight. And so that's the email that I have. And so with that, I'll go to Councilman Wright, and then we'll try to move
Mayor,
on.
can I clarify something
Yes,
before
ma'am.
we do the vote? Also, prior to us having the previous meeting that we did not have, there was a question asked if any other applicant can apply since it was delayed, and I was told no. So I do want that noted as well.
Okay. Councilman Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I appreciate all the comments that has been made. I feel ultimately we've been here before. In any committee that has been appointed by the mayor brings that decision back to the whole council, and we never make a decision. And I understand that this is one of the probably most important decisions that we have on the type of commission, and that's why I feel strongly. And I want to say this: I'm not taking this motion to table to take away any of the work that has been done by the committee, because it's a lot of work, and I respect that. That's not the point. But the emails that came back was not determined that there was a consensus, and that's my problem. Because if you guys couldn't make that decision and bring it back to us, if it was 2-1, it would be totally different. But you know, if it was 3-1, it would be totally different. But because this is so important, I think that we need time to relook. And since those 10 names came back to us, even though you guys not consensus-wise, but I don't know what you guys did after the 2-2 vote to decide, okay, we don't know who it is, let's just bring these 2. I don't know all the information. You have 900 pages. Thank you for doing that work for us. And it may be that we end up with these 2 names anyway. But I want to feel comfortable with viewing the information of those people, that we take it serious when citizens, volunteer to serve on our boards, and at no cost to them. It's just their time, no cost to the city, but it's volunteer time. And for those 8 that was not chosen, at the end of the day, will they feel like this been based upon our conversation tonight, a thorough, complete view of all applicants with the entire council, because now it has come to us. And so I just want to table it to view the information on the candidates until our next session, which is March 22nd. That's our next council session. That will give us, March 22nd, that will give us a time to look at that, because what we do here now will reflect the future of citizens volunteering their time to serve. And we just want to make sure. And I'm not questioning what you guys did, but it's kind of confusing as to what those emails were and the thing that came back to me. So, Mr. Mayor, I would like to make that motion that we will table 10.02 until March 22nd, which is our next work session.
Council meeting.
Sorry,
That's the next council meeting.
the next council meeting.
Mayor, I was just trying to clarify for the clerk whether that was all the nominations or just the PwC nomination.
Just the PwC nominations, just the PwC.
All right, so there's a motion by Councilmember Wright, there's a second by Councilman Davis. Discussion, I think we have Councilmember Waddell and Kinston.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'm going to try to be brief, but I want to make sure that I state this. I appreciate that you guys have clarified, because that was my sole intent, was to get some clarity. I also appreciate that many of you have indicated that this has consistently been a very contested board, one which required a lot of conversation. I appreciate also that you guys have acknowledged that we did our work. And I will say that this to me indicates that those of you who are saying you need more time, especially if you knew this was a contested board, did not do your work, because there have been 10 applicants since we received these books over a month ago. And we have all known that the PwC appointment was on the table. And so I will say that if this has been, which Mayor Pro Tem has indicated and the mayor has indicated, and I think also Councilmember Wright, if this has consistently been a position that has been very discussed, you all should have been prepared to discuss this tonight, because you knew it was coming. There was no reason to wait on whether we had consensus or not, because by your own acknowledgement, this is something that has been very discussed and debated. And that is my comment, and I'm prepared to take my vote.
Thank you. I think we just expected it to come out of there in a different way. Councilmember Kinston.
I'll defer, Mayor. I'm good. Thank you.
All right, Council, we've thoroughly discussed it. Look to you for your votes to table this one portion of that. All right, Councilmember Ingram.
Red.
Councilmember Waddell.
Red.
All right, Madam Clerk, that is 5-4 to table. PwC will continue that action till 3:22. Those voting in favor, Councilman Davis, Dawkins, Wright, Colvin, Jensen. Those voting opposed, Councilmember Banks, McLaughlin, Ingram, Waddell, and Kinston. All right, moving with the other presentation for the Appointments Committee. Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I will, again, I think we all know who our committee members are. On our committee is Councilmember Kinston, Councilmember Dawkins, Councilmember Waddell, and the mayor. I am going to turn this over to Councilmember Dawkins to read the names of our nominations. And then after that, I guess we will go and discuss.
Mr. Mayor, with your permission.
Please, Councilman.
The Airport Commission, those nominated by the Appointments Committee are Kim Medley, Judy Dawkins, Mark Lynch, Sandy Ammons, Nanesh Mehta. The person nominated for Animal Control by the Appointments Committee, Dawn Holt. Persons for the Ethics Commission, Diamond Spain, Willis Watt, Stephen Rockman. For the Fair Housing Board, Danielle Gaddy and Bryant Edwards. For the Fayetteville Advisory Committee on Transit, Angela Lewis and Sharina Ragman. For the Firefighters Relief Fund Board, Stephen McCorkadale. For the Historic Resources Commission, Ashante Bennett, Barbara Milson, Kirby Tyson, William Bass. For the Human Relations Commission, only one, Mr. Samar Abdel Fattah. For the Joint Appearance Commission, Mary Kate Burke. For the Joint City and County Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission, Demetria Davis, Crystal Moore Williams, Lenny Guzman, Darden Jenkins. For the Joint Fayetteville-Cumberland County Senior Citizen Advisory Commission, Mary Morehouse. For the Planning Commission, Mr. Stefan Ferguson, Mr. Wesley Fountain, Mr. Victor Sharp. For the Millennial Advisory Commission, Gabrielle Allison, Zacchaeus Ely, Malik Davis, Alicia Rogers, Mario Benavente, Jessica Jones, Catherine Brown. For the Personnel Review Board, Jovan Bowser, Jennifer Costello, Larry Simmons, Dakisha Upchurch, Carl Mitchell, Christy Gibbons. For the Public Arts Commission, Akua Fikes, Michael Jones. For the Redevelopment Commission, Shamika Bethea and Ashley McDuffie. For the Stormwater Commission, Radford Brown, Tremaine Council Orellana, Timothy Hammett, Dino Hondros. Charles Jones. For the Zoning Commission, J. Franklin Johnson. For the Planning, okay, I've already said the Planning Commission. Mr. Mayor, that is the recommendations of the Appointments Committee, except for the Public Works Commission.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Dawkins. Mayor Pro Tem, your light's on.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to pull the Millennial Commission and Parks and Rec for a their own vote, and up or down for their own vote for discussion.
Second.
Okay. There's a motion to pull for a separate action. You said Millennial Commission and Parks and Rec?
Yes.
Okay. All right. There's a motion by Mayor Pro Tem to approve with the exception of the Millennial Commission and Parks and Rec. It's a second by Councilman Dawkins. Any discussion? All right, Council, I look to you for your votes for that.
I did have a question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Are we going to vote on each individual member, Mayor Pro Tem
Well,
and Mayor?
It's her motion to separate it, so I guess we'll move along the ones
Yes,
that
sir.
don't have questions, and however the discussion goes on the questions on those two particular votes. Councilmember Ingram? Councilmember Ingram?
I'm so sorry. I had a connectivity issue. Can you repeat the motion for me, please?
The motion was to approve the recommendations except the Millennial Advisory recommendations and the Parks and Rec recommendations for a separate action.
Green.
Councilmember Waddell?
Green.
All right. All right, Madam Clerk, that is unanimous by those taking action. All right, I'll go to you, Mayor Pro Tem. It was your motion to separate. We'll start first with the Millennial Advisory Commission.
Yes, sir. I would like to take an up or a down vote individually.
Okay. Reading through this, so the recommendations were the three in the middle: Malik Davis, Mario, and Ms. Gabriel Allison.
No, sir. We have
Zach
1, 2,
Taylor.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 new applicants.
Under the Millennial? Oh,
Yeah,
oh, right,
yes,
a
sir.
total of 7, but okay.
So I would like
Oh,
to do
okay,
7
okay,
separate
okay.
votes.
I understand.
7.
Are we in discussion phase yet?
No, I'm trying to understand. Okay, so this is kind of akin to the consent. When we pull an item for consent for a separate action, this is a separate action on each one of these sections. So under the Millennial Advisory, the recommendations, the way I understand it, were for 4. It was Zacharias Ely, Mr. Benavente, Malik Davis, and Gabriel Allison. So
It's all.
the committee recommended all of these?
Yes, we need 7.
Oh, okay. All right. So, okay. But how many slots did we have?
7.
Okay, 3, 4,
I have a question.
5. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So we're we had 7 openings for the Millennial Commission, and there were 7 recommendations made. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So why are we pulling the up and down vote for it?
Because the council wanted to vote on them separately, which is within the rights to do. And so Mayor Pro Tem has presented a motion to vote on the 7 applicants. And so it's just like we do on consent, guys. We can either approve it as a block or you can vote it individually. We've even voted question by question. I mean, so this is the same concept. Councilmember Wardell?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think that this would, if I understand what we just did with Public Works Commission, I think that this would probably fall under the same realm because there are far more than 10 applicants for the Millennial Commission. I'm trying to look, there are probably hundreds of pages of applicants for the Millennial Commission, and I'm not sure how those of you who were not privy to the book would be able to take an up-down vote without reviewing the application. So should this also be tabled until we have the dialogue about PwC?
Well, PwC was actions taken and that is tabled. If you would like to present a motion to present something else.
I'm asking for clarification on how you guys are possibly supposed to vote to appoint members to a committee up or down if you've not reviewed their application.
So, Mr. Mayor, if I may, since it's my motion.
Okay.
I would, very great point, Councilmember Waddell, thank you. I would be interested in pulling the Millennial and the Parks and Rec back and bring it back when we bring back PwC.
Now, is it all of the members, Mayor Pro Tem, or is it a specific member? Because if we all agree on 6 and there's just maybe 1 or 2 that you'd like to take an up-down vote on, that would probably save the other members of council a significant amount of time in research.
Okay,
if we can
yes,
present it
ma'am.
to you.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that was the original proposal to vote for them
Yes.
per name, right?
That was the original proposal.
All right, Councilmember Kinston and then Davis, you had a question.
Thank you, Mayor, but I believe you did already address the same question I had, which is if we're doing an up and down vote, there was 7 that was brought to council for approval, that if any of these are not approved, then all the applications need to go to council to review for the recommendation for the next one.
Okay, Councilman Davis?
Question, Mr. Mayor. I wasn't in the committee, but did these 7 names get a consensus vote from the 4 of the committee members? Yes or no?
It was
7
either
names get a
2 or
consensus
2,
vote?
yes. There was, I'm sorry, there was, it was 2, there was a lot of people that wanted to be on this committee. So we, who said, we would have, somebody would say, okay, 3 people wanted this person, and if it got down to 2 and 2, that's how we kind of did our recommendations.
So, Mayor, as you indicated, that if there was a consensus to move these forward, yes, there was a consensus to move these names forward to council. There was not any discussion of any other names brought forward. So, which brings me back to the question of the PwC. If you're saying that we didn't get a full agreement to bring anything, then the same thing applies to this Millennial Board.
I'm not a consensus is not necessarily unanimous.
But Mayor,
So-
what I'm saying is, each of these names were agreed upon before we went to another
By at
commission or
least
board.
3 members.
At least, no, 4. All 4 of us that were
Okay,
there.
well, then that's a consensus.
Agreed to bring these names forward to the
Okay, that's a
council.
consensus.
So.
The
it
other
was a
one, the
consensus.
PWC was different because there was 2 and 2. You understand?
Yes, I understand, Mayor.
Okay. All right. So let's restate the motion. Is the motion to vote on these up or down individually, like I did hear that, or is to, okay. So
Okay.
this is your motion, Mayor Pro Tem. Clarify, please.
Okay, so my motion is to do a single individual up-down vote for the Millennial Commission and for the Parks, the Fayetteville Cumberland County Parks Recreation Commission.
All right. All right. And in the event that there is 1 or 2 names out of the 7 that creates an opening, then the committee will then reanalyze the next set of applications. Is that correct?
No, sir.
No,
Why
that
would
would
we?
have to, that would
So
have
if
to
you
go
have-
to the council. We've done that.
Okay. So I guess the council will figure out some process. So if all 7 of these apply, then that's a moot point, I suppose. Then
So are we voting on her motion? to
yes, ma'am.
up, down all of them? Okay, thank you.
If there's a second to it, so
Okay.
there's a proposal by Mayor Pro Tem to vote on these. There's a second by Councilman Davis. It's been thoroughly discussed. All right, council. We'll start with applicant number 1, which is Mr. Zacchaeus Ely.
No, don't we have to vote
Oh,
on
yeah.
her
We'll
motion?
need a vote on the motion. So there's a motion by Mayor Pro Tem, there's a second by Councilman Davis. Look to you for actions to do this individually. All right, Councilmember Ingram,
Red,
Councilmember Waddell.
Mr. Mayor, I want to clarify my vote. I don't, if you guys have not looked at the applications, you don't qualify to be able to decide yes or no because you've not reviewed the application. So for that reason, my vote is red.
Okay. All right, and Councilmember. Okay, everyone else is here. All right, Madam Clerk, that is 6-3. Those voting in favor to individually decide this. Davis, Dawkins, Wright, Colvin, Jensen. Or 5 to, who didn't vote? Let's see.
No, it's 5-4.
5-4, okay, all right. All right, so start with applicant number. Councilmember Ingram, is there something germane to the action that's on the floor now?
yes, sir. And I guess I should put a disclaimer out. This is not to be argumentative or anything, but this is purely uncomfortable to have to vote on applicants which we don't know their qualifications. We have not reviewed anything. We don't know anything about these applicants. And so I don't know how we could be asked to do this.
So the same way that you just made the case that we should have done it for the PWC or the previous, because it was recommended. So I understand that, that's
But we
duly noted.
received,
So now we
received
have,
the information.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't cut me off. Do not cut. We've
well,
received that.
Councilmember Ingram, we have an action on the floor that we have to proceed in. So if it's not germane to that action, which we're about to start calling the names individually, then we have to move the item on. All right. First applicant is Mr. Zacchaeus Ely. No.
Gabrielle.
Okay, all right. So Gabrielle Allison. All right. We'll look to you for your votes on Ms. Allison. All right. Councilmember Ingram.
Madam Attorney, before I give a vote, is there any way that I could excuse myself? I'm not necessarily sure how. I'm not comfortable with making a vote on something I've not reviewed. It's one thing for the PWC because that was sent to us, but I'm asking this of the attorney.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Your question was whether you could be excused from voting?
Yes.
Under the state statute requires that council members vote unless there are specific situations such as a conflict of interest based on financial interest or other things such as that nature, which it doesn't appear at this point that there would be any basis to exclude you from voting on these matters.
Thank you.
Councilmember Ingram,
And whose name is this?
Gabriel Allison,
Green.
Councilmember Waddell.
Green.
All right. Madam Clerk, carries unanimously. Mr. Zacchaeus Ely, look to you for action on that. Councilmember Ingram,
Green.
Councilmember Waddell.
Green.
All right, Madam Clerk, that carries unanimous. Those voting. Mr. Malik Davis, look to you for action on Mr. Davis. Councilmember Ingram,
Green.
Councilmember Waddell.
Green.
Madam Clerk, that carries unanimous by those voting. Miss Alicia Rogers, look to you for action on Miss Rogers. Okay. It's right here. Councilmember Ingram.
And this is Alicia Rogers.
Yes, ma'am.
Red.
Councilmember Waddell.
Green.
All right. Madam Clerk, that is 8-1. Those voting in opposition, Councilmember Ingram. Mr. Mario Benavente. This vote is for Mr. Benavente. Councilmember Ingram.
Green.
Councilmember Waddell.
Green.
All right. Madam Clerk, that is 5-4. Those voting in favor of Mr. Benavente, Councilmember Banks McLaughlin, Ingram, Waddell, and Kinston. Those voting in opposition, Davis, Dawkins, Wright, Colvin, and Jensen. Miss Jessica Jones. Was that your vote?
No.
Oh. All right, let me clear the boards, guys. All right. It must be stuck.
This is a shame.
All right.
Okay, try it again.
All right. Those voting for Ms. Jessica Jones. Look to you for action for Ms. Jones. Councilmember Ingram.
Red.
Councilmember Waddell.
Green.
Madam Clerk, that is 8-1. Those voting in opposition, Councilmember Ingram. And finally, Ms. Catherine Brown. This action is for Ms. Brown. Councilmember Ingram.
Red.
Councilmember Waddell.
Green.
All right. Madam Clerk, that is 8-1.
Wow.
Those voting in opposition, Councilmember Ingram. All right. The next section was joint city and county parks and rec. First applicant is who? Ms. Davis.
Yes.
All right. All right. Council, same format. This is a vote for Ms. Davis. Look to you for action. Councilmember Ingram. Councilmember Ingram. Councilmember Waddell.
Green.
All right. Councilmember
What?
Ingram.
Yes, I'm sorry. This is Parks and Rec.
Yes.
And what was this name? I'm sorry.
Demetria Davis. Do you have your Granicus in front of you?
Yeah, I'm looking it up. I had to unmute myself. Green.
All right. Madam Clerk, that is unanimous by those voting. Ms. Crystal Moore Williams. This vote is for Ms. Williams. All right. Councilmember Ingram.
Green.
Councilmember Waddell.
Green.
Madam Clerk, that is unanimous by those voting. All right, Ms. Lenny Guzman. This vote is for Ms. Guzman. Councilmember Ingram.
Green.
Councilmember Waddell.
Green.
Madam Clerk, that is unanimous by those voting. Mr. Darden Jenkins, this vote is for Mr. Jenkins. All right, who hasn't voted? All right, Councilmember Ingram.
You said Darden Jenkins?
Councilman Dawkins, have you voted? Is your light on? Yes, Mr. Jenkins.
Green.
Councilmember Waddell.
Green.
All right. Madam Clerk, that is 5-4. Those voting in favor? Those voting in favor of Mr. Jenkins, Councilman Dawkins, Banks, McLaughlin, Ingram, Waddell, and Kinston. Those voting in opposed, Davis, Wright, Colvin, Jensen. Okay?
Mr. Mayor,
Ma'am?
I would like for, effective immediately, I would like for you to remove me from the appointments committee.
You have to submit that in writing, ma'am.
I sure will. Thank you,
No
sir.
problem. Thank you. All right. Council, look to you for motion to adjourn? No. Oh, which one? What's the other? Oh, okay, it was 3. Oh, yeah, the added item, 10.03. All right, Councilman Davis. Is your light green from the last vote or this vote? All right. All right, Council, this item was to consider updating the resolution or some other option for the Citizens Review Board per the request of Senator Deviere in order for him to be able to file his bill with the legislator. Councilman Davis, is that a?
Make a motion, Mr. Mayor, that we do that, based on the updated version of it.
Okay, was that the latest? Well, the latest version was 2020. The one, I think there were 3 submitted, 2014 and 2020 and 2012. So which one are you speaking of?
The 2020 version, Mr. Mayor.
All right. So is that there's a motion by Councilman Davis? Is there a second? Councilman Banks, so that's a question. So this would be an update. So this would be a council action that took place in 2021 based on Senator Deviere said that the others needed. Ma'am?
What's being requested from Senator Kirk?
He said that the council needed an updated request, resolution.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay. All right. So there's a motion by Councilman Davis. There's a second by Councilmember Banks McLaughlin. Councilman Dawkins, is that a question?
It's discussion, Mr. Mayor, on the
all right.
motion.
So we have a motion and a second. Now we're at the discussion. Councilman Dawkins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This council has already voted once during a work session to create a citizen advisory board, and then second, we voted in open session during a regular meeting to ask our staff to come back, and I imagine that's being worked on to come back for the creation of the advisory board. And I would prefer reasonableness in this situation, that we start with an advisory board, that we not go straight to a review board. And the reason being is that we set up the advisory board, we spend the money, we get the names, we vet the people, and we ask for them to commit a year to learning about the system. And because this is a very, very serious business, and whereas if the legislature does approve a review board, that review board is going to have the authority to discipline and in effect fire, is my understanding, our police officers. And My guidance is for reasonableness, and by moving straight to a review board, to me, that's not being reasonable. My recommendation is that we crawl before we walk. We learn as much as we can about this advisory board. I will be the first to admit that I have not worked with a citizen advisory, police advisory board, and would want to be involved at least as a liaison, as I'm sure many other members. The importance of trust. I think we're going to create an environment of mistrust by going right to a review board. Starting with a review board is not going to foster trust. It will be adversarial, and I believe if we start with an advisory board, we can build trust so that it's not adversarial. And the review board, in my opinion, is the wrong approach, and it's not reasonable. However, Mr. Mayor, I hope the members will think all that through, and I'll be not supporting. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Dawkins. Councilman Davis, your light is back on?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to withdraw my motion.
All right. So we'll. All right, Councilmember.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I'll come to you, Councilman Wright. Councilman Ingram.
Well,
Councilmember Ingram.
yes, I had a question and now I don't have a question. So is there a motion on?
I think Councilman Wright is coming forth with that.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would like to make that motion that we would consider a Citizens Review Board.
Courtney, is your light on for? Oh, okay. All right, so there's a motion by Councilman Wright to update the resolution requesting the Citizens Review Board. Is that a second by you, ma'am? This is the review board. I'm not sure if you all had an opportunity to read the resolution, but it basically said, whereas in an effort to display greater transparency and accountability, the Fayetteville City Council adopted an ordinance on January 14th of 2013 establishing a Citizens Review Board to facilitate review of police department disciplinary cases, whereas on February 11th, 2013, the City Council adopted the City of Fayetteville 2013 State Legislative Agenda, which provisions seeking special legislation allowing the City of Fayetteville to confidentially disclose limited personnel information to the members of the Citizen Review Board to facilitate review of police disciplinary actions. Whereas the members of our state delegation are encouraged to support and create the review board, Senator Merritt is serving as the bill's primary sponsor at that time. And whereas the city has been attempting to establish a citizens review, provide greater transparency and accountability for quite some time, whereas the Fayetteville City Council is unanimous in support of the establishment of a review board, whereas the city has met with members of various advocacy groups in order to alleviate concerns about Citizens Review Board. The city has amended, and at the time it referenced House Bill 349 to make clearer for board members should they violate the confidentiality. And it was passed back in 2014, signed by the current mayor, Robertson. I do not have his executed signature, but I do remember it was submitted as a legislative act, just like the $22 million we requested and everything else that we've asked for. So that is what was just asking for an update on that.
Can he restate his motion?
Yes. Make a motion to do an updated resolution from the City Council on Citizens Review Board and send up to the state delegation.
So there's a motion by Councilmember Wright. There's a second by Councilmember Banks McLaughlin. To update said resolution. Any further discussion on the motion? Councilmember Waddell?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Wright, would you be amenable to a friendly amendment indicating that there should be some specificity as to what particulars we're looking for? So because, you know, that was kind of one of the things that was heralded during our meeting, was that we needed more specificity.
Absolutely. I will certainly be amenable to that because we do need what's the word?
I got you.
Specificities on
Thank
that
you.
to ensure that Yeah, ensure that the state legislation know exactly what we're asking for.
It's my understanding by Senator Deviere that when he sent this email on Thursday or Friday, no, on Sunday, that they needed this resolution tomorrow. So how are you going to do any specificity by tomorrow?
I believe that we've been given multiple presentations and our staff is well aware of the legislation that's needed in order to put together this particular agency as it's been proposed. And so I think that staff is prepared to be able to put that specificity on the line.
So I guess the question is, how does the council take action on that specificity by tomorrow if we're not going to be in session tomorrow?
Same way we took votes on people we didn't read applications for.
Well, the same way we tried to forward things from a committee without properly voting on it. But I mean, those are things in the past, but this is a serious question.
Mr. Mayor,
at 9:30.
I was given a very serious answer.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, if I would, please, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, just a suggestion. By email, once those specificities.
Specifics?
Yeah, once those specifics are given by staff, the city manager can kick those out by email, and we can respond that way if that would be
The
advisable.
attorney is saying that's not an official action. Madam Attorney, do you have some recommendations, or you or the city manager? I see your blue light on.
Yeah.
Sorry, I meant to turn on the city attorney's light. Go, Karen.
No, Mayor, I was just expressing some concern about trying to leave this to the staff to figure out.
Typically, guys, if there's a resolution to ask for it, we didn't give specificity to what we wanted the $22 million for. We basically said we need the authorization to do that. Typically, during the bill drafting process, they send recommendations. That's what they've done before, and we can do it. I think the step is to whether there's a consensus by this body to update the resolution. That was what he talked to me about. This was a 2013. It was not the lack of specificity that it didn't go anywhere in 2013, 14, and 20. It was the fact that there was not legislative consent to do it. So I think that slows this process down by not taking any action or trying to give a blank resolution and to try to make a decision on the phone, particularly when we have people on our board that are always talking about official actions and emails and plausible deniability and all those kinds of things. So I think we need to either update the resolution or not. It was a short timeline to start with. So it's your motion. It's on the floor for discussion. Councilmember Kinston, and then we need to move on and let the hostages out, y'all. Councilmember Kinston.
I voted, Mayor.
Oh, that's a vote. Okay. All right. There's a motion on the floor by Councilmember Wright. It was a second by Councilmember Banks McLaughlin. The motion currently, as it stands, is to update the resolution as described. Look to you for up or down on that. Councilmember Banks McLaughlin. Okay. Councilmember Ingram.
Green.
Councilmember Waddell.
Green.
All right. So, Madam Clerk, who didn't vote? Councilman. Okay. So, Madam Clerk, that motion carries 6-3.
Oh, Mayor, Councilmember Harris on the line.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure we had discussed the motion carried anyway, 6-3. Councilmember Harris, were you privy to this conversation?
No, Mayor. I just got in, and I just wanted to zoom in.
Okay.
All
right.
Just back in town.
All right. So motion carries to update the resolution. I guess staff will draft accordingly, and we'll ask Senator Deviere or the local delegation chair, I think it's Representative Richardson, for any more action needed by this body. All right. All right, Council, look to you for a motion to adjourn.
So be it.
Have a good evening.